going to reduce your energy bill.
Last January's energy audit came with a few recommendations for our DIY chick from certified energy advisor Carlos Sosa.
And we're going to measure how tight your house is. The tighter the house, the more efficient it is.
This particular audit will help determine how to best redevelop the basement. The metal studs and yellow insulation are all up to code, but not the ideal way to finish a basement.
The way that it should be redone is with wooden studs and spray foam insulation. There's no doubt that the spray-in insulation is far better than what's down there right now. But if I tear all of that out, I'm contributing to a landfill problem. Plus, it's going to increase the cost significantly.
I want to start with the insulation. What we're looking at up there is actually orange insulating foam, and you can't see it because whenever there's exposed foam, there has to be a fire break.
The foam insulation between the floor joists had been covered with blown-in fiberglass insulation as a fire break. The energy audit found the header area had the greatest energy loss in the home.
The drywall here provides a fire break, but if I'm not drywalling up there, I've got to have that extra fire break.
Between the studs on the wall, Jeffrey is using Roxol mineral wool insulation.
It went up really quickly. I think it took me a weekend to insulate the entire basement.
The old metal studs were torn out and recycled. New studs are now on 16-inch centers to provide a better drywall nailing surface.
And what I discovered was that, yes, the old insulation was R8, so it was very, very poor. And the metal studs, if I grabbed the metal studs, the walls, I could grab the stud and I could move the entire wall. So it wasn't very sturdy, and it was going to be a really poor foundation framework for drywall. Well, I'm actually at the drywalling stage of the process now, and so I brought you down here now because we actually do have still a couple of stud walls left to take a look at. It's a really good indication of why you need to be thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead in the process.
Jeffrey calls framing the most interesting part of the renovation process.
When you're doing the studs, what you're worried about is, you're thinking 16 inches on center, you're thinking about doorways, you're thinking about bulkheads, you're thinking about where your ductwork is. There's a lot of stuff to take into consideration, but if you're not really watching what you're doing, you can be off in your measurements, and that causes problems down the road. At the beginning of the process, I really wasn't able to see a number of steps ahead because the beginning of the process itself was just so overwhelming. There are no nails in this basement anywhere. It's all screws. It really cuts down on the nail pops a couple of years down the road. Upstairs, I can see nail pops in a number of different places, and that's because they've used nails to put the drywall together. Plus, if you use screws to attach the framing, if you make a mistake, man, is it ever easy to take the stud out, to redo it, because you just unscrew everything.
Okay. I never thought of it that way. Last year's DIY chick project saw her drywall the garage, so now she's a bit of a drywall expert.
It's easier if you think about drywalling as a big jigsaw puzzle, because that's how I've come to think of it.
She prefers to drywall the ceilings first.
When you do the ceiling first, you can butt the walls up against the ceiling drywall, and that gives the ceiling drywall just a little bit more support, which is not a bad thing. It helps to prevent sagging.
As for the walls, plan ahead so the tapered edges of this jigsaw puzzle butt together, leaving a nice surface for mudding and taping.
You can put it up vertically or horizontally. In our case, what we did was, if the wall was less than 8 feet, we were usually able to do it horizontally. If it's more than 8 feet long, we've done it vertically. And it's just a matter of making it easier for the seams and fewer seams. It would turn like this. You can see that you actually wouldn't have any difficulty getting out of that window at all. And my plan is to have furniture based here so that it's easy just to climb up again, and then you're out. So whether it's an 8-year-old child or a 60-year-old person, they're not going to have any difficulty exiting out of here.
The focal point of this reno project is the big window in what will be the downstairs bedroom.
So it did not meet any kind of building code for egress. And I particularly wanted this to be a bedroom. I didn't figure it made sense to spend all of the money and all of the sweat equity to create this wonderful finished basement, which it's going to be, without a proper egress window and the ability to call this a legal bedroom.
The bigger window requires some concrete to be cut, and the custom order window isn't cheap. But Jeffrey says she has no regrets.
This is a really good solution. It was expensive, but it's the one part of the whole renovation that I've been particularly happy with. It went really well, and I had no issues whatsoever with the contractors. They were fantastic.
For this DIY chick, it all comes down to peace of mind.
I don't want anyone down here who's not safe.